Hi there, and welcome to Why Senior Life, where we talk honestly and kindly about what it means to age well, stay strong, and keep living with purpose. Today, we're diving into something a bit serious but also incredibly important, especially if you or someone you love has recently turned 70 or is getting close. You might have noticed this yourself. A lot of folks seem to slow down after 70. But not just slow down, they start disappearing. One friend passes away unexpectedly, then another. Some after a short illness, some in their sleep. No major warning signs, just gone. And you start to wonder why. You've made it this far. You've raised kids, worked hard, maybe even beat a few health scares in your 50s and 60s. So why is 70 such a fragile age for so many people? Take Mr. Lee, for example. He's 72 now, a retired electrician. He eats well, still walks with his son every morning, and avoids bad habits. But lately, he's been feeling more tired than usual. Nothing too alarming, just not himself. What really shook him, though, was that in the past year, 3 of his longtime friends, guys he walked and joked with, passed away. All in their early 70s, all fairly healthy, all gone too soon. So Mr. Lee asked his doctor, is there something that changes after 70 that we don't talk about enough? The answer, absolutely. Turning 70 is not just getting older. It's more than gray hair and stiff knees. It's a major shift, one that affects your immune system, your heart, your mind, even your ability to bounce back from things that once felt minor. And the truth is, many people don't realize how much the rules change after this milestone until it's too late. But here's the good news: knowing what's coming puts you in control. In this video, we're going to explore why so many people face serious health challenges or even death not long after 70, and what you can start doing today to avoid becoming another quiet statistic. We'll break down the hidden changes happening in your body, the emotional traps many seniors fall into, and the 3 most dangerous but preventable health issues that take lives too soon. So what exactly starts to change inside our bodies after 70, and why does it matter more than ever? Let's take a look in part 1. Most of us know that aging comes with some wear and tear. Achy knees, a bit of forgetfulness, maybe getting tired a little faster than before. But after 70, something different starts happening. The changes aren't just occasional, they're consistent, deeper, and they don't reverse easily. It's like your body quietly shifts into a slower, more fragile mode. And unless you understand what's happening, you won't see the warning signs until they're loud and dangerous. Let's break this down. Your cells don't bounce back the same way. Every day, your body works like a maintenance crew, replacing dead cells, repairing damage, cleaning out the waste. But after 70, this internal team slows down. The process of cell regeneration becomes sluggish. So if you get a small cut, it might take longer to heal. If you strain a muscle, the soreness lingers. Your organs, heart, lungs, kidneys, don't recover from stress as well. It's not your fault, it's biology. Your immune system is also no longer the strong gatekeeper it once was. That means infections you used to shake off in a few days can now linger or turn serious. Something as simple as the flu or a urinary tract infection could spiral into hospitalization. And during cold months, pneumonia becomes a real threat. The brain also starts to rust slowly. It's not about forgetting your keys once in a while. After 70, the neurons in your brain, the cells responsible for memory, focus, and coordination, start declining in both number and performance. Some people notice this as occasional confusion. Others feel slower in processing conversations or remembering familiar names. It doesn't mean you're destined for dementia, but it does mean your brain needs support just like your heart or lungs. The good news: mental exercises, social interactions, and movement can help maintain sharpness. The big organs show their age too. Your heart has been pumping non-stop for over 7 decades. That's a lot of miles. Over time, your blood vessels get stiffer and your heart works harder to keep things running. This can raise your blood pressure, increase fatigue, and even cause shortness of breath during simple tasks like climbing stairs. The lungs, especially if you've ever smoked or lived around air pollution, may not expand as well. Breathing becomes shallower, which means less oxygen going to your muscles and brain. Your kidneys may filter slower. Your liver may process medication differently. Suddenly, that pill you've taken for years starts having stronger side effects. That's why regular checkups and adjusted dosages are critical after 70. Let me tell you about Marion, a 74-year-old woman from Minnesota. She was always active, loved gardening, played bridge. Every Tuesday, rarely got sick. But after recovering from a minor flu, she noticed she was still exhausted weeks later. Turns out her kidneys weren't clearing fluids properly, and her blood pressure had quietly crept up. It wasn't until she fainted in the kitchen that her daughter rushed her to the ER. She's fine now, but only because they caught it in time. This is what makes aging so tricky. The body sends whispers, not shouts. So what can you do? You don't need to live in fear, but you do need to live with awareness. Here are a few things experts recommend. Schedule regular checkups, especially for blood pressure, kidney function, heart health, and vitamin levels. Pay attention to small symptoms, lingering fatigue, slower healing changes in appetite or sleep. Stay gently active, daily walking, light strength training, or stretching all help keep systems working. Ask your doctor about medication reviews. The same meds can affect your body differently after 70. Most importantly, don't assume that just because you feel a little off, that it's nothing. After 70, small things can grow quietly, but caught early, they're often manageable and sometimes reversible. Of course, physical changes are only one side of the story. What happens inside our minds and hearts after 70 can be just as powerful and just as risky. That's exactly what we'll talk about next in part 2. The emotional shifts that age you faster. When we talk about aging, most people think of physical changes, aches, slower steps, maybe a few extra medications. But what often gets overlooked is something just as important, if not more, your mental and emotional well-being. After 70, life doesn't just slow down on the outside. It shifts on the inside too. You may not feel it right away. In fact, many older adults seem fine, smiling, joking, attending church or family dinners. But behind closed doors, many are quietly struggling with loneliness, loss, or even a deep sense of fading identity. Why it happens? For decades, your life was full of structure. You woke up with purpose, raising a family, working a job, helping others. But after retirement or after the kids move away, that structure starts to dissolve. The days become quieter, sometimes too quiet. And with that silence, thoughts start to creep in. Am I still useful? Do my kids even need me anymore? What's left for me now? These are honest questions, and they can lead to emotional weight that's heavier than we like to admit. Feelings of being a burden, losing control, or becoming invisible in a fast-moving world. Mental health isn't just about feeling sad. It's about how you think, how you cope, how you connect. And as we age, these things matter more than ever. Depression, anxiety, and chronic stress aren't just young people's issues. In fact, studies show that 1 in 4 seniors over 65 experience some form of depression, but many don't get diagnosed. Why? Because the symptoms look different in older adults. Instead of crying or speaking up, many seniors simply withdraw. They sleep more, eat less, lose interest in hobbies, or they complain about not feeling right without knowing why. A real story. Mr. Harris, 76, lost his wife of 49 years last winter. Since then, he hasn't really left the house much. He eats canned soup most nights, doesn't answer his phone often, and hasn't touched his piano in months, an instrument he used to play every Sunday. To his kids, he says he's just tired. But the truth is he's grieving, and that grief left unspoken has turned into something deeper: emotional withdrawal, low motivation, and increasing frailty. His doctor noticed he'd lost 15 pounds and barely smiled during a checkup. That's when the conversation about depression began, not as a diagnosis to fear, but as a door to healing. The mind-body connection is real. When emotional health declines, the body follows. Loneliness can raise blood pressure. Depression can weaken the immune system. Anxiety can interfere with sleep and digestion. Over time, this invisible strain can turn into very real illness. The flip side, people who stay mentally engaged and emotionally supported tend to live longer, recover faster, and stay more independent. What can help you? Don't need therapy sessions or fancy treatments, though they help too. Often it's the small, consistent steps that make the biggest difference. Connect with others, call a friend, join a group, talk to your grandkids, keep a routine. Wake up with a plan, even if it's as simple as watering plants or walking around the block. Talk about your feelings with your doctor, your family, or someone you trust. Do something meaningful. Volunteer, teach, share your stories. Your life experience is valuable. Move your body. Gentle movement boosts mood and brain chemistry. And above all, don't ignore that quiet voice inside. If something feels off, it probably is. And it's never too late to feel better. But mental and emotional health aren't the only challenges we face. There are three major health threats, quiet but deadly, that target older adults more often after 70. Let's take a close look at them in part 3, the three silent killers you need to watch out for. Now that we've explored how the body and mind quietly shift after 70, it's time to talk about the big three, the health threats that are responsible for most sudden deaths in older adults. They're not new, they're not rare, but they are often missed because their early signs blend in with what many assume is just normal aging. The truth is, these conditions are preventable, detectable, and in many cases treatable if caught in time. Let's walk through them one by one. 1. Cancer, the slow, silent builder. We tend to think of cancer as something that comes with obvious signs, lumps, dramatic weight loss, visible illness. But in reality, cancer often grows quietly for years, especially in seniors. Why is it more common after 70? Because your cells have been dividing and repairing themselves for decades. Over time, small errors in this process, called mutations, start to stack up. Most of the time, your body catches and fixes them. But with age, that repair system slows down. That's when cancer can take root. Some of the most common cancers in older adults include colorectal cancer, prostate cancer in men, breast cancer in women, lung cancer. What makes it dangerous is that many symptoms look like aging. Feeling tired more often, subtle weight loss, changes in appetite or digestion, random pains that don't go away. That's why regular screenings are so critical. Case in point, Mary, 73, noticed she was getting more constipated and losing weight slowly, but she figured it was part of getting older. It wasn't until her daughter insisted she see a doctor that they discovered early-stage colon cancer. The tumor was removed and Mary's now doing well, but only because they caught it early. Lesson: if something feels off, don't brush it off. After 70, small changes can mean big problems. 2. Cardiovascular disease, the ticking clock. Your heart is a hard-working organ. After 70-plus years of pumping blood nonstop, it's earned your respect. But it's also vulnerable. Cardiovascular diseases, CVD, include high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, atherosclerosis, narrowing of arteries. Many people walk around with high blood pressure or mild heart disease and don't even know it. That's what makes it so dangerous. The first sign might be the last sign. What to look out for: shortness of breath while doing light activity, chest tightness or discomfort, dizziness or lightheadedness, swelling in legs or ankles, sudden fatigue, and yes, many heart attacks happen without any chest pain at all in older adults. Doctors recommend checking blood pressure regularly, doing heart scans if you've had past issues or strong family history, eating heart-healthy foods, more fiber, less salt, fewer processed fats, walking daily or doing light cardio. Real story: James, 76, didn't think much of the fact that he was getting winded walking to his mailbox. He had no pain, just thought it was old age. One evening, he collapsed while watching TV. His heart had been struggling in silence for months. Fortunately, he survived, but only barely. Lesson: never assume you're just getting old. Your heart may be sending signals. It's your job to listen. 3. Respiratory disease, the quiet struggle to breathe. Breathing is something we take for granted until it becomes a struggle. After 70, your lungs lose elasticity. If you've ever smoked, been exposed to pollution, or had untreated asthma, the risk increases even more. The two most common culprits: pneumonia, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, COPD. Pneumonia is particularly deadly in older adults. What starts as a cough can spiral into fluid in the lungs, oxygen shortages, and hospitalization. Even a cold can become serious if it moves into your chest. Common signs to watch: frequent coughing or wheezing, shortness of breath when lying down, needing to sit upright to sleep comfortably, low energy or brain fog caused by low oxygen. Winter makes this worse. Cold air can trigger bronchial spasms, and staying indoors without proper ventilation increases your exposure to airborne viruses. Story from experience: Mrs. Alvarez, 75, thought she had a minor cold. She stayed in bed, drank tea, and figured she'd bounce back. 3 days later, her neighbor noticed she wasn't answering her door. Paramedics found her oxygen level dangerously low. She had developed pneumonia. She recovered, but she now gets a flu shot every year and uses a humidifier during the winter. Lesson: protect your lungs like you protect your heart. Breathe clean air, get vaccinated, and act fast if symptoms escalate. So what do these three killers have in common? They're all common after 70, hard to spot early, easier to manage if caught in time. Often mistaken as normal aging, but the biggest danger, ignoring them. That's why education and awareness are your best defense. You can't stop aging, but you can prepare for it. You can listen to your body, ask questions, get checked out, stay ahead of what could catch you off guard. Now that we've covered the big three killers, let's turn our focus to something more seasonal, but just as risky: the hidden dangers of winter and how cold weather quietly harms seniors. That's coming up next in part 4. For most people, winter means cozy sweaters, warm meals, and maybe a little more time indoors. But for those over 70, winter isn't just a season, it's a health hazard. As we age, our bodies become less equipped to handle sudden changes in temperature. The cold doesn't just make you uncomfortable, it can trigger real life-threatening issues if you're not careful. What makes winter so dangerous after 70? Let's start with your circulatory system. When the temperature drops, your body tries to stay warm by constricting your blood vessels, especially in your arms and legs. That means your heart has to work harder to push blood through tighter vessels. For seniors, this raises the risk of high blood pressure spikes, heart attacks, strokes. Even if you feel fine, your blood pressure might silently climb. Many strokes happen in the early morning during cold weather, when the body is under thermal stress and you don't even know it. Then there's the respiratory system. Cold, dry air irritates the airways, especially for people with asthma, COPD, or past smoking history. Staying indoors doesn't always help either, especially if the house isn't well ventilated. When windows stay closed all winter long, viruses spread more easily. That's one reason flu and pneumonia peak in seniors during winter. Indoor living, just your hidden risks. Being indoors more often might sound safe, but it comes with downsides. Reduced sunlight, just less vitamin D, just weaker immune system, less movement, just weaker muscles, balance issues. More isolation, just an increased risk of depression and anxiety. Higher fall risk, just your slippery floors, poor lighting, bulky clothing. Falls are one of the top causes of hospitalization in people over 70, and winter only makes that risk worse. Here's a true story. Tom, 78, slipped on his icy porch just trying to grab the newspaper. He fractured his hip and spent 6 weeks in rehab. Before that fall, he was living independently. After it, he needed help with basic tasks, and he said the hardest part wasn't the pain, but losing his sense of control. So how do you stay safe in winter? Here are some simple but powerful tips every senior should take seriously. Layer your clothing to trap body heat without restricting movement. Check your blood pressure more often, especially in the morning. Use a humidifier to moisten indoor air and ease breathing. Keep your home safely warm, ideally between 68-72 degree, 20-22 C. Stay active indoors, chair exercises, stretches, or even walking laps around the living room. Watch your footwear. Non-slip shoes can prevent falls inside and outside. Ask for help. Don't risk going out alone in icy conditions. And don't forget your flu shot and pneumonia vaccine. These aren't just nice to have, they're lifesavers during colder months. Getting older doesn't mean winter has to be dangerous, but it does mean you need to prepare for it differently. Be aware, be cautious, and take the season seriously. Let's take a breath. We've talked about what goes wrong after 70, how the body weakens, the mind can wander, and the seasons can quietly work against you. But here's the good news. You're not helpless, not even close. In fact, many people live strong, vibrant lives well into their 80s and 90s, not by chance, but by choice. The secret, simple habits. Done daily. Done with intention. And no, we're not talking about strict diets or running marathons. We're talking about doable changes that research shows can dramatically improve how long and how well you live. Let's look at the 5 that make the biggest difference. One mafid to your body referring. Little. You don't have to lift weights or join a gym. But moving your body daily is one of the most powerful things you can do. Walk around the block, stretch your arms and legs, try seated yoga or Tai Chi, do light chores or garden work. The key is consistency, not intensity. Just 20-30 minutes a day can lower blood pressure, improve joint mobility, boost your mood, strengthen balance, and prevent falls. Example Ellen79 does laps around her hallway with a timer every morning. She says it's her daily appointment with Vitality. Her doctor says she has the blood pressure of someone 20 years younger. 2. Eat real whole foods. Colorful and clean. As you age, your body becomes more sensitive to what you eat. That's why quality matters more than quantity. Aim for fruits and vegetables in every meal. Whole grains like oats, quinoa, or brown rice. Lean proteins like fish, beans, or chicken. Healthy fats like olive oil, nuts, and avocado. Avoid ultra-processed snacks, salty canned foods, and sugary drinks, not because you can't have them, but because they don't serve your body anymore. And drink water. Yes, plain water. Many seniors mistake dehydration for fatigue, dizziness, or even confusion. 3. Sleep at the same time. Every night's sleep in older age can be tricky, but having a consistent routine helps your body know when to wind down. Go to bed and wake up at the same time. Avoid screens weighing 1 hour before bedtime. Keep your room cool, dark, and quiet. No caffeine after 2 p.m. Good sleep helps regulate hormones, brain function, heart health, mood stability. It's not just rest, it's repair. 4. Stay connected and engaged. One of the most dangerous things for seniors isn't cancer or heart disease. It's isolation. Human beings are wired for connection, and without it, the brain shrinks, the heart weakens, and the soul dims. Make the effort to call a friend every day, join a walking group or community class, talk to your grandkids about your life stories, volunteer, or find a purpose-driven hobby. Example, after her husband passed, Marie, 81, started teaching knitting to young mothers at her church. She says it saved her life, and she's never missed a Saturday since. 5. Find meaning. Every single day, this one's big. Longevity isn't just about living longer, it's about living with purpose. Whether it's your garden, your faith, your dog, or simply watching the birds from your porch, what keeps your heart engaged keeps your body alive. Reflect in a journal. Practice gratitude. Set a tiny goal for the day. Say something kind to someone. These may seem small, but they fuel your will to live, and that's more powerful than any pill. You've earned the right to enjoy this chapter of life, but you also deserve to thrive in it with energy, joy, and dignity. Now that we've explored what helps you live longer and better, let's bring it all together. In our final section, we'll reflect on everything we've learned and talk about how to turn this knowledge into action. Don't miss the final thoughts coming up next. If you've made it to the end of this video, thank you. That already tells me something important: you care, you're paying attention, and you're not giving up control. Let's take a moment to reflect on everything we've uncovered. Turning 70 is not the beginning of the end. It's simply the start of a new chapter 1 that requires a little more awareness, a little more care, and a whole lot of heart. We talked about how your body quietly shifts after 70 and why noticing small changes matters. How emotional health is just as important as physical health, sometimes more. The 3 silent killers: cancer, heart disease, and respiratory illness, that often catch people off guard. How winter, though beautiful, brings hidden dangers to your health. And finally, the daily habits, simple, doable ones that can help you not just live longer, but live better. But here's the real takeaway. You are not powerless. Your age doesn't define your health. Your past choices don't lock in your future. And your best years, they might still be ahead of you. No matter where you're starting from, it's never too late to move your body with kindness. Eat in a way that nourishes, reach out to someone you miss, rest with intention, wake up with something to look forward to. Aging with strength and grace isn't about avoiding every risk. It's about knowing the risks and meeting them with wisdom. Mr. Lee, the man we met at the beginning of this video, recently started journaling every morning after his walk. It helps him track how he feels and keeps him aware of subtle changes. But more than that, it helps him stay connected to his purpose. I might be 72, he says, but I've still got chapters to write. And so do you. So here's your invitation. Start today, pick one small habit from what we've talked about. Just one. And give it your full heart for 1 week. Then see how you feel. If this video spoke to you or reminded you of someone you care about, share it. You never know whose life you might help change with just one click. And if you haven't already, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more wisdom, support, and inspiration designed especially for people like you, strong, experienced, and still growing. From all of us here at Wise Senior Life, thank you for being here. Stay warm, stay active, stay connected, and remember, your life after 70 is still your life. Live it with intention.